All right, everyone. Good evening to everyone present here. This is going to be a fun webinar. Um, on behalf of Westford University College, I would like to give a hearty welcome to each and every one of you who are present here for our webinar series, and to Dr. Beatrix Henkel. Generally, this would be the time where I would tell you to give a huge round of applause, but today a thumbs up would do. So thank you so much. I hope you're all doing great and you're all at home and you're all safe, because that's what we want. And this is how we are bringing the world of information, the leadership talk to you, into your doorsteps. Now, moving on to our keynote speaker today, Dr. Beatrix Henkel. Who is she? So, Dr. Beatrix Henkel is a visionary leadership and communication coach. She has over 17 years of experience in education and in leadership role. Currently, Dr. Beatrix is a leadership training lead at the Ministry of Education, Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Some fun facts about Dr. Beatrix is that she loves camping, she loves hiking, and she loves anything outdoorsy. To to be precise, I called Dr. Beatrix at 6 p.m. today, and then she said, "Can we start? I have something to run between 6 to 7." And she said, "I need to do some exercise." So that's how active she is, even during a lockdown. She speaks more than 7 languages and lived in around 5 countries. Uh, I spoke to her a couple of times during the last week, and I must say, Dr. Beatrix, she's really thoughtful, she's intelligent, she's funny, she's witty, and she's a very calm person. I told Dr. Beatrix, you know what, I think we have over 250 participants coming in today. And then she said, it's okay. I'm not the one who is going to be stressed about it. So she's really calm and composed. So that's a fun part. And one of the thought process that Dr. Beatrix truly lives by or embodies is that she says she believes in the power of human relationship. And I think this is the mantra that she actually lives by. And at the core of who Dr. Beatrice is, I think she's the people's person. She believes in the unlimited potential each one of you have, each one of us have it within us. So without much ado, I would like to welcome Dr. Beatrix to this webinar. Before you guys settle in, let me just remind you a few of the ground rules so that it'll be easy for us to communicate, because I'm literally talking to a computer and you're listening to a computer. So to make this entire journey and this talk very experiential for both of us, so I have a few ground rules for y'all. So the first one we have, if you see, we have a chat section in your right hand side. You will see we have a chat section, and then we have a question and answer session. So Dr. Beatrice is going to speak for a good 25 minutes, where she would be sharing whatever she has to share with us. At that time, you would have I would want you all to have a lot of questions. So what you can do is you can put it in your Q&A section. So type down all the questions, whatever you have. At the end of Dr. Beatrix's session, that's where I would be reading out all these questions, and then all of your questions will be answered by Dr. Beatrix. All right. So be attentive, listen to it, and whatever questions you have, please queue it up and then type it out at Q&A section so that I can see it and it's easier for me to pick up your questions. All right. And the other thing is that we would probably have some kind of fun polls going on in between, just asking some random questions, something pertaining to Dr. Beatrice's talk. So I would like you all to participate. All right. So I think these are the only two things. And that's it. Enjoy the talk and be attentive, and let's make it very, very fun. So all the best. So let's invite Dr. Beatrice.
All right, before we get started, let me just make sure you can all hear me. Okay, can you hear me? Great. So 5 years from now, I'm going to be working with international organizations all across the globe, working on introducing coaching to education. And this is going to be happening at a governmental level. The way I see it is that I am sitting around a table together with other, not only thought leaders, but also leaders of governments, ministers of education. And we are having this conversation where I can see that their face lit up, and I can see how interested they are in introducing coaching and introducing a new way of thinking into their systems. I notice on their faces is that they're inspired. And what I also notice is that they would like to learn more about it. And they would like to create an environment where it is a transformation is happening. Let me just go on and a little bit describe you a bit more detail into where I see myself in 2025. So I mentioned you that it's an international collaboration that I can see happening there. And what is really happening that everybody is on mission with full clarity on who they are being and how they want to be present in those conversations. And there is a huge power in that room where we are having this discussion. Everybody knows and feels that this is a discussion that is going to result in actions. Everybody is determined to bring it into action, to implement it. And all across the board, not only in certain institutions, not only in some places, but all across the board. So what I also see happening is that many of the children going to school and students going to universities, they are excited because they know that there is learning ahead. They know that this learning is personalized, it's about them, and it's about real values. The subject knowledge is just building on it, but the absolute essence is them, is their presence, and it's their being. I'm very fond of this visualization exercise, and I'm very fond of this image, and I can see it happening. It was a couple of days ago when I was getting ready for this talk, when I revisited this again, and it just really helped me to see how much I am already on this mission. But it wasn't always like that. So for a long time, there was no passion behind these words. There was no energy. There was no inspiration as much. There was clarity, but not the others. And from my childhood, as early as I can recall, probably grade 5, the earliest, when I can think of that, I was having this clear vision that what do I want to go on after I finish high school. And when I was at college, I knew what I'm planning to do, what I want to do after college. But after college, it still was moving a lot for me. So I moved from one job to another, from one country to another. And I really learned the ins and outs of education in many different combinations. And we just don't have enough time. And it would be extremely boring if I would list all of them. But what is important about this is that something was missing. So with every transition, I started asking myself questions like, why am I not feeling that it's not enough? Why am I not like those who already on their way to success and they know what they really want and they have a full integrity behind that vision? So these questions just reminded me of something that I was planning to show you on the video, but now that we don't have it, just imagine a triangle and the top of this triangle is pointing downwards. And if you look at this triangle with the top pointing downwards, then you see the two sides on the top. And just imagine that those are shoulders of like of a human. And what's happening with the downward pointing triangle, that it's kind of draining. There is something pulling down here, a pulling down energy. And this is what I was feeling without acknowledging it, without noticing it. And I still kept coming. I still kept going, and I said there is something more to it. And this was continuously there. The questions of why not, lots of no things happening, and lots of no's, that I'm not like this, I'm not doing it right, if only it would be different. And I reached a stage, and that was not a long time ago, when I already, in the ESL field, English as a second language, I already had not only a master's degree, I had my PhD dissertation banded. So I had quite a lot already achieved, I would say, relatively a young age. And it was a feeling of, is it really it? Is that all that is about it? So when I went to conferences, I frequently left the conferences saying that, oh, I know it's all already. So is there nothing new under the sun? And this is when I started asking questions. And if you imagine this triangle in just a few minutes ago, then just imagine turning this triangle upwards, so that the top angle is really pointing up. And now if you look at this, it is more like a mountain. It is more like something that is really just changing something. So once I ask myself the question, is it the only way to look at this? What other ways can be to look at my life right now? And asking this question moved me into a different position, moved me into a different perspective. And that started for me personally with getting to know about neurolanguage coaching, when I learned that what I came up with in my dissertation actually can become reality. And there is already an existing program where language learning is happening in a way that is completely tailored to the students, where it's about learner autonomy, where we are talking about the dreams of the students, where grammar is not an activity, an exercise in the book, but grammar is something that we use to talk about our experiences, to talk about our real life experiences, and just using it to aid it, just to help it, just to make it richer. And this was my entry to the coaching world. After this entry, I got really, really interested, very, very fascinated, intrigued. What else is in the world of coaching that is there? So I started exploring it. I got into coactive coaching, and it is a journey I started a few years ago, and it opened up a completely different world. It was not a different me, it was the same me, but fully empowered. And when I say fully empowered, I mean that there is an energy behind my words, and I feel it. And there is a clear vision where I'm heading, what I want to do. There is a good understanding, well, it can always be better, but so far, a good understanding of what my values are, what my limiting beliefs are. And this helped me as a person, as well as a professional. So right now, I'm introducing and building up a coaching culture in the Ministry of Education, which is a nationwide initiative. And it is only a few years after I started looking at this triangle in a different way. I started asking myself the question, so what else? How else can I look at it? And I brought you this experience, and I'm sharing this story so that you can also change your perspective. You can also move into a perspective that is fully resonant with you. So there are 3 tips that I would like to share. One is that it was about questions. So if you noticed, I started asking different questions. And the different questions would be, in the case of a triangle, what else can it be? How many triangles do I have in front of me? Maybe it's more than just one. Maybe it's more than 2. Maybe it's something else. What else can it be? And also, what can I use it for? How can I look at it? What is it for me? What is important about it to me? So it's about questions, and very much open-ended questions. Just notice previously when I said, when I was talking about my story early on, then I was asking questions like, why am I not? What if was a change maker? So when we start asking those questions that are coming more from the learner mindset, then we are getting closer to that shift, to that change. And the questions when we are doubting, when we are blaming ourselves or others, those are really the questions that are not leading us any forward. They are just really pulling us back. So think about the questions you are asking yourself. Think about the questions you are asking others. And think about how you want to change your questions. And that's a very, very powerful first step to bring in a powerful change in your life. Start asking different questions. And one thing I noticed with asking different questions is that I started challenging those assumptions. So previously, I had assumptions like, this is it, this is adult life. So not everything is funny, not everything is happy, and there are difficulties. Yeah, this is life, just live with it. And I also was telling myself that this is it, like you cannot really reach more. Like, you already reached a lot. Like, what else do you want? It's already good. It's already more than anybody else achieved. And these were some of the assumptions I had. And when I started changing it, when I started questioning those assumptions, that's when something started to shift. So what you can also do is you can write up that list of assumptions you are having about yourself, assumptions you are having about others, about the world, and you can just revisit them. Are they still true? Were they true in the past, but not anymore? Can they be challenged? Or are you having new assumptions? If yes, what are they? And going through that list and challenging yourself and your assumptions, you will get lots of new insights, lots of new aha moments, which is not only a promise, it is actually one of the steps that will take you closer to a more fully and fulfilled you, to a more powerful you, to a more inspiring you. And the third one I would like to share, and this is again coming from my experience, I used really a lot of I don't know, I don't want, why is it not? Lots of negations. I cannot change, I cannot be different, I cannot be anything else, this is me, I will never change. And when you have this language, or when you have this in part of the words and the language you are using, just be reminded of two things. One is that before you said those words, they were already born in your thoughts. And when you say those words, being aware of it and raise your awareness of it consciously allows you to change it. You can turn all your no's to yeses. And what the yeses will open up, they will open up several different directions, several different opportunities, new perspectives, new horizons, and new dreams, new challenges. And this is an invitation. This is an invitation to say yes to yes. If you start any or all of these three activities, if you venture out and you start doing it, not just once, but continuously, you will experience a growth. And this is going to be transformational. It doesn't mean easy. It doesn't mean not realistic. It exactly means that it's real, it is happening, and you can create it. By creating it, you will not want to follow anybody. You will want to follow only the person who you want to become. And this is something really important to me, that when it comes to leadership models, then Sakina asked me if I have any role models or if I have anybody I look up to. And I said, I really like thinking that that person who I'm looking up to is me. And you can also become that leader who you want to follow. And these are a few steps that can get you started. So the question that I am asking you at the end of this talk is, who are you choosing to become? And thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you for being actively present. And I'm going to give the floor to Sakina. We are going to give another attempt to the video. And we'll try to keep going with your questions and sharings.
All right. Okay. So, guys, shooting some questions. We already have few questions in our question poll. Dr. Beatrix, one of our listeners, Neha Rahman, she wanted to know what made you pursue the coaching career in general. Dr. Beatrix, can you hear me?
Just tell me who asked the question.
Okay, so we are having Dr. Beatrix come on the video again. All right, so we have, yeah. So Dr. Beatrix, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we have a question from one of our listener, one of our listener, Neha Rahman. So she asked, what made you pursue your career in coaching?
Mm-hmm. It's a great question. Thank you for that. Every time I answer this question, I come up with a different answer that brings me more clarity as well. As I said, my passion into the coaching was with neuro language coaching. I'm a language teacher originally. I have been teaching English for some time, and alongside with English for some time, history. And something in the language teaching field was not enough for me. And that was something I was really, really missing from the classes and missing from the language sessions. I wanted to have more personalized experience where the focus is on developing learners who are independent, and I'm facilitating. I'm not the source of knowledge, but I am in the background to allow them to shine. And yeah, so that was my first step into it when I got to know neuro language coaching. This was for me linked to the findings I had in my PhD research project, that the key to language learning is having clarity who you want to become. And how is your life going to be different with that language, with knowing that language? And this is exactly what neuro language coaches do. They ask you the question, How do you see yourself speaking French, speaking German, speaking Chinese, Korean? And what does it, how is it going to look like? Who are you going to be? So that was my introduction to coaching. And I went into coactive coaching in Dubai afterwards. And now I'm in my certification, and I can really tell you I'm really an addict now. I would like to go on with the studying, and not only for myself to grow, but also helping others to grow faster and to grow more than I did. So it took me several years, my wish and my longing for others, that it takes a short time for them. It takes much less for them, and they become much more powerful than I am.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Dr. Beatrix. So we have another question from a listener called us to see and see. Her question is: post COVID-19, do you still think that coaching business will still carry on like this, or new ways will have to be developed? What will happen to team building activities that were traditionally used in form of for teamwork?
Good question. That's going to change after COVID. What is changing is the approach. And the approach is bringing out your best, really creating that powerful, that is awakening the giant within, bringing in this you at your element, your best. And this is not going to change. And it doesn't matter if it's in person or if it's online, it still works. And actually, most of the coaching I do right now, they are on the phone. I don't even see people. I can just hear them. And it does work. It's a transformation. And there is always a longing, a yearning on people's side to grow more, to become more, to serve a bigger purpose, something that is bigger than they are. And this is never going to change.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Beatrix. The next question is from Farhana Nazneen. So her question is: how is the UAE transformation in terms of education? I looked into your LinkedIn profile, and I'm interested in understanding what has changed since you work for the Ministry of Education. So I think that's a perspective they're looking at, how UAE will transform in terms of education.
Yeah. So anybody working for the Ministry of Education in the UAE are super lucky, and feel, even though we might not always say this, but this is the reality. And the reason for this is that they are open-minded. So the leaders who are leading the country, the Minister of Education, to get all the leaders involved, especially locals, especially Emiratis, they have a huge trust, and they are following that vision that the leaders are setting, that goal. And at the same time, they are very teachable and humble. They won't go around like being proud and boasting around what they have achieved. And they have achieved a lot. If I think about it, in 40 years, what is it that they have achieved? It's massive. And where are they heading now? Using the latest smart technology, opening up to coaching at a governmental level. It's exceptional, it's unique. And that comes from them being open-minded, but grounded, bringing in innovation, but not leaving their tradition behind. So what is changing? A lot is changing, and a lot more is going to change. Because if you have this mindset, even as a person, as an individual, you are experiencing growth. And it comes from you having the mindset that's reachable and being humble.
Wow, that's really nice. Being humble, I think, in this time of crisis, that's what we've all really feeling, like how small we are in retrospective. The next question is by Abhijit. He's asking, what is your take on online learning, Doctor?
I love that it's forced, that COVID pushed us into rethink education, rethink the paradigm of learning. I think that if governments and if countries, they don't hurry and create an emergent solution, but they really take it as an opportunity to create a paradigm shift is going to be great and amazing. Having online learning, it is just an opening, it's just a door that opened to us now. And it was a force, so kind of now we need to look into that room, what's behind the door. And if we keep being curious, and if we keep asking questions, challenging those assumptions that we might still have related to education that are century old and are not serving us anymore, then we have new perspectives, new insights, and new avenues ahead of us. It's a blessing in disguise.
It's a blessing in disguise. Sure it is. Next question is from Shamrose. He's asking Dr. Beatrix, what's your daily motivation to keep going? I think especially in this time. So what's your daily dose of motivation?
Oh, that's amazing question. I thank you for that question. It is a time when I'm challenged as well personally, day by day, and I'm choosing to choose every day. So when I ask you, who are you choosing to become? I'm asking myself that question every day. How do I want to show up? Who do I choose to be? And I make that choice every single day, and especially now, taking it day by day and looking at it as living it, but also looking at it from a perspective that later down the road, when I look back at this period, what do I want to see? What am I creating here? And my motivation is partly this, the self-growth and the desire to grow from it, to create something that is going to be lasting and something that is meaningful. And another motivation for me is connecting with people, having meaningful conversations. I stopped having small talks a while ago, and I'm not ready to get engaged in any kind of small talks, like how are you? I believe that it's much more about that. And this is a time when there is time, and then there is opportunity to create meaningful conversations, to create opportunities to meaningful conversations. So this is something that really motivates me.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. One of the questions is the next question is from Vishnu Menon. He's asking for, most people won't negative thoughts appear, negative thoughts appear in most people's minds. So if so, how do we overcome it and how do we bounce back from a negative thought?
Okay, that's a great question. And I think this is a super useful question. Thank you for bringing it up, really. Having negative thoughts, one way is to name it. As they say, you name it, you tame it. What is your negative thought? And when you verbalize it, when you articulate it, you can add a little bit spice to it. So add a color, add a shape. How does it look like? What is it like? And notice when you start giving it a shape, so my worry is like kind of a gremlin, and it just keeps talking in my head, whispering. So it's green. It's kind of, I don't want this. You can do anything with that gremlin afterwards. So just name it, and bring in any kind of image, any metaphor to bring it to life and face it. Once you face it, once it becomes real, it's going to be really small. You will see that it's just, so what is this gremlin? Now that I see it, I can even throw it out from the window. And I live on the 31st. It's going to disappear in no time. So try it. See if it works. Let me know. It definitely works for me. And I'm pretty sure it's going to work for you. But try it. See it for yourself.
All right, thank you so much. I like the whole concept of giving the negative thought a face or an image or a color, so that you're not intimidated by it anymore. That's a brilliant take on it. I'm definitely going to think about that, Doctor. Next question is by Florence. So she's asking, the why question usually leads us to overwhelming thoughts, leading to fear and wanting to remain in the same spot. What would be the best way to deal with it? uh, like when you are really stuck in a spot?
Three important points that you mentioned in the question. One is, what can we do with the right questions? The second is how overwhelming it is. And we are stuck in the spot. And this is exactly how you can notice that those negative thoughts are happening and what can you do about it. And this is not only a feeling, this is also backed up by neuroscience. When you have why questions, one of the studies showed you actually have pain in your body. You're actually feeling it, but we don't really pay attention to it. We keep asking the right questions, and there is blame, there is self-doubt, all of those things coming up with the right questions. So one thing to do is phrase it differently. Use a different way of phrasing it instead of why. So once you start phrasing it differently, you will already move away from that feeling of stuck to a different place, to a different perspective. And it's all the power of the language and the power of the words we are using. And there is a continuous interaction between your thoughts and your words. So when you verbalize it, it has been born in thoughts. But when your thoughts are focusing on something really positive, and this is neuroscience, that where your attention goes, your energy flows. So where do you choose to focus? And that can become a language element. What is my take on it? What is important to me about this? What is my reason for asking why questions? So play around, do a little bit of experiment. What works for you? How do you want to phrase it? And there will be different emotions coming up, different energies coming up. That's inevitable. So you cannot go wrong. You can only go in the right way if you choose to.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. You just said something that makes sense. Your energy flows, right? Uh, One second. So we have another questions coming in. We have a lot of questions coming in, so we're just going to pick and choose, guys. Even if your questions aren't answered here at Garrett, I'll make sure that Doctor, we will send you another message with the answered questions. So we're just taking as much as we can. We have another question coming in from Mr. Ahmed. He says, "What other tips can you give us to try improve our leadership skills?" Actually, Doctor, this particular question about leadership skills have been asked by a few other questions as other people as well. Like, I'm just clubbing in two or three questions together. The questions related to leadership skill. One is how can we improve our leadership skills. Another question somebody else asked is that in case we do have somebody who is a negative person in the leadership role, how do we deal with that person? Like, how do we deal with a negative leadership who is coming to us? And the others, yeah, currently these are the two questions connected with leadership. Yeah, how do we
Okay,
be
let
a
me
leader
take.
and how do we deal with negative leadership? Yeah.
Okay, I will just take a few seconds because I'm having technical problems here. Okay, and
Okay.
after that, I'm coming back with the answers to these questions. All right. Thank you for your
Okay, great.
understanding, everybody.
No
Apologies,
problem.
it
Thank
won't
you,
take
doctor.
long. Yeah.
Thank you, doctor. Meanwhile, everyone else, thank you so much for having the patience. And I know that this technical glitch is something that's going to be a part of our life since everybody has moved digital. So there are some polls, some questions I've kept ready for you. So let's see how many of you were quite attentive. So here is go to in your site you will see polls. I'm going to I just sent in a poll question, so let's see. Answer that. Let's see how many of you are really paying attention. Yeah. Oh, not bad. Okay, let's see. Okay. No cheating, guys. Okay. All right, not bad. Most of you got the answer right. The question is, how many languages does Dr. Beatrix speak? So the options were 6, 5, and 7, and 40, 59, 60% of you guys actually said 7. Not bad. So you've been paying attention. But the rest, no problem. You still have uh, time to pay attention. All right. So Dr. Beatrix, are you ready for questions, or do you? Are you ready?
Yes. Yeah, I would like
You're
to answer
good.
those
All right.
questions related to leadership.
Question for leadership. Perfect. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, yes, yeah, I would like to say that if you have questions and you are not getting it answered for some reason, or you just want to reach out, feel free to do so. No problem. Okay. And the answer is, this is my take on it, and they are great questions. Leadership skills. How do you develop it? What I would say primarily is identifying where you are and where you are heading. What is a leader for you? What does it mean? How are you showing up as a leader? What is your vision of yourself as a leader? And getting clarity on that first. When you have clarity around that, it's worth backing it up with the values you already have. Many of you would be already compassionate, empathetic, kind, friendly, intelligent, understanding. So look into those values that you already have. You have many, and it's looking, exploring that you already have. When it's clarity where you want to go, it's going to be much easier to see what is the first step from where you are now to go where you want to go. And this is the journey to leadership. But I'm noticing right now when I'm coaching leaders in mid-career leaders, those leading in the middle, is that they've never asked this question. They don't really know where they're heading. It's just having, what they know is they need to complete the tasks, and they're trying to do it to be their best when they are doing that. And that's great, but what is the ultimate goal? So how do you want to see yourself? And I'm surprised how many of them are not asking this question or haven't asked this question yet. Maybe they will start now. So yes, get clarity. What can you do when there is a negative leader coming your way? Well, of course, that would be a very good question. What is important from my experience, because I also had that, and not one or two. What is important that you are grounded? You are grounded as a person. They can only shake you if you allow them to shake you. And they can only have an impact on you if you allow them to. So be mindful, draw your boundaries. What are you allowing those people to do? How are you doing those boundaries? How are you showing up? Be grounded. And if you are, then even though those negative leaders will be around, they will change, because you can always change yourself, but you can never change a leader, a negative energy.
All right. Thank you
Did
so
I
much,
answer
Dr.
all the
Beatrice.
questions, Akina?
Yes, you did. You did. You answered the questions about leadership. We still have some more questions coming in. Now let me just. I
Okay.
am taking another question here from Deepthi Prakash. So she's asking, how can we reduce the diversion from main work we intend to do? I'm also going to club this question with another question by Gority. Uh, how do you encourage new innovative ideas? I'm thinking maybe this could be connected, and how can we reduce diversion? So probably you need to be innovative in reduction of diversion. So I'm saying, so first question by Deepthi, how can we reduce the diversion from main work we intend to do? And the other one is, how do you encourage innovative ideas?
So I'm assuming when you are saying reducing diversion, it means they're not losing track, kind of being on track. And what helps is to get clarity. What are those distractions for you? And how can you stay on track? Part of it is about prioritizing. So what is priority for you? And how is it represented in your life right now? Being clear about it helps. So spending time reflecting on it, what can be, diverting, what can be that divert for you, and what will help you to stay on track, and what is it that's kind of pulling you to the side. Yes, and the other question was about, remind me,
How do you
Sakina, the
encourage?
other question. I
How do you
lost track a
encourage
little bit
innovative ideas,
myself.
by Gaurati? How do you encourage innovative ideas?
Encouraging, and this is encouraging innovative ideas is very easy. All it needs to be open-minded. And when you have innovative ideas, when you hear innovative ideas, all it takes is acknowledge what you truly believe in them. So there is some truth, there is something that inspires you about that idea. What is it? And just articulate it. Articulate what's going on with honesty and integrity. And it's easier. It's very easy to do, and it leaves you with a positive feeling, and it absolutely empowers the other person sharing the idea. And in every single idea, there is something innovative. It's just the way to look at it. How do we want to look at this? Which aspect do we want to focus on? So maybe the 1% is very innovative. Do you see that 1%? Or do you focus on the 99, which is just very boring and not new? So it's up to you, and it's your choice.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Doctor. The next question I'll ask you. This one question is okay, by Muhannad Al Harbi. He's asking a very interesting question. So he's asking, when you were a child, who was the person that you were looking up to, who inspired you as a child? When you were yeah.
Um, who inspired me? I think when I was different stages in my life, it was different people, and it wasn't that people per se, it was some of their characteristic trait that I really admired. And one of my language teachers is here on call right now, and we both know that there was an amazing English language teacher in the school where I studied and where she was teaching, and she really inspired me. How she was, like the way she appeared in the class, the way she was talking to students, and it was all about how she was being present in the class. And it's just right now when I'm saying it, I'm getting a little bit of goosebumps, because it made me realize how important it is we are being, because we are human beings, we are not human doings, and yet the time we spend with actions, we spend with doing something, and we don't really create space for being and being who we are. And that's really where the power is. Your being already has a huge power. So just explore it and let it be.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Doctor. There's a question by Mr. Maxim. He says that remote work or working from home concept is gaining more and more interest and adoption among companies these days. So, in your opinion, Doctor, what will be the main challenges for leaders while leading a group entirely in an online mode? And what skills or tools you would recommend to overcome these challenges? So, in short, yeah, how do you manage a team? What's the leadership style for the online work from home culture that we're all in right now?
Amazing question. Wow, really useful, very actual. My favorite style of leadership is coaching, because that's really where the empowerment is coming into the picture. So if somebody is leading and the focus is on empowering the team member, that's the greatest one. And it's not about telling, instructing. It's more about, I see how great you are, and I want you to be even greater. So there are certain characteristic traits that you already have as a team leader, and you can easily transfer to the virtual learning or remote learning environment. What really becomes different is trust. You have to have more trust in your people when you are working with a remote team. You are trusting that they're doing what they are supposed to do, and they are keeping to the deadlines, working together as a team, more autonomy and more trust. And that's a huge challenge for individuals, for many, many leaders, because they cannot be there physically to supervise. There needs to be an element of trust. And yeah, I think that would be one of the key challenges. And maybe they are already.
Oh. Okay, and how do you think we can overcome it? Like, how do you think how do we think?
Yeah, yes, that's how do you, I won't say overcome it. How do you build trust with your team? Start having meaningful conversations. Start having conversations that matter. If you're a leader, your team members are not only the work machines, not only those that complete the tasks for you, they are living, breathing human beings. So just build that connection with them. And yes, you do need to spend more time with them if you are a leader at this time, because you also want to know more about them as an individual, and not only how he or she can contribute to the efficiency of the team. And this part is really a challenge. People haven't done it before, or haven't necessarily done it. Maybe some people did. My gut feeling is that not many people are interested in building meaningful relationships. And now it's kind of, yeah, it's a given. You use it or lose it. So as for the skills, yeah, come in with curiosity, come in with compassion, show up with empathy, and start building those relationships, have those meaningful conversations that you didn't have before. That's simple.
Okay, great. Actually, such a simple answer for such a complicated question, isn't it? How do you overcome challenges, be compassionate, and have faith, and like you said, trust and compassion. I think these two things. That's great. One interesting question as well. I think this is asked by a couple of them. I know Shamrose, one of the listeners, Shamrose asked, and another listener. I'm just looking at the names so that. Okay, I'm sorry if I'm missing out the names, but then this question was asked by a couple of them. That what was your biggest failure, or if you had any failure, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, sure, I had not one, I had many. One of the ones was, now in retrospection, I love this question, by the way, is that when I felt like I know it all. There was a time when I wasn't ready to learn anything new, because I thought I have it all. Like, I have all this knowledge already, all this experience already. Come on, guys, there is nothing new under the sun. I know it. And when I would say, would I say failure? A learning. Yeah, probably this was my biggest learning. Just always remain in the learner mindset. There is always something new to learn. And if you feel like there isn't, then maybe it's time to revisit how you are present, who you are being. So, yeah, this is one of the many, but thank you for asking.
All right. So you were more present even during that failure, and you didn't allow it to take over, but then you looked past that, isn't it?
It sounds very easy. It took me a couple of years, but yeah.
Yeah.
Briefly,
All right.
yeah, that's the case.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Another question by Mr. Suresh Kumar, and he's asking, what is your suggestion for a work-life balance? The reason he's asking this question, he's like, because the time goes by now, because everybody's telecommuting now, nobody is directly communicating with anyone. So, what is your suggestion for a work-life balance in this virtual world?
Wow. This is, not only an important question, this is going to be a question that people are going to ask and again in the coming years. So you kind of hit the nail on the head over there with this question. A work-life balance is starts with asking yourself, what is balance for you? And how does this balance look like? A good way to look is where your values are. So if you notice what you value, and for example, in my case, it's human connections. Another one is learning something new. Another one, just spending quiet time when I can reflect. So reading, like reaching out to people who I feel they are alone, or reaching out to people to deepen that relationship. Following up with people who find it really difficult and challenging right now at this stage. And if these are my values, the question I ask myself, am I spending enough time with that? Or am I just going and doing something to do all the time? And this is a question I'm asking, if not every day, but often, especially now, because it's very hard to draw work-life boundaries. We are still getting used to remote work environments. The rules are not clear yet. They are still emerging. So start with yourself. Where are your boundaries? Where do you want to draw those boundaries? That's all you start. Start with yourself.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Beatrix, for that. I like the fact that you kept on saying that human connection and spend some quality time with yourself. I think that's what we need the most at this point of time. Another interesting question from Miss Pierce. She's asking you, how do you thrive in a male-dominant environment?
Ooh. Lovely question. Well, actually, I have a couple answers to that. A couple of answers. One of them goes back to feeling grounded, like know who you are, know your limits, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, embrace who you are, and be present with that, with all of that. Just accept it, embrace it, love it yourself. That's really important. And my second answer is appreciate the value they bring into the work environment, because there is something that generally male mindset would bring into the conversation that a female one wouldn't. Appreciate that, point it out, articulate it, say it out loud. I really like the structure here. I'm liking how firm we are about this next step. That acknowledgement works on many different levels. The one level is men do like to be right. And this is a way in. So you don't have to sound right, but you can still get your point across. Another one is coming from the brain science. Just calm down their brain. Don't let their amygdala kick in. So just how can you calm it down? Praise, acknowledgement, thank you, curiosity, open-ended questions, understanding more, appreciating what the good points. And the important thing is that they have to be authentic. So you cannot just praise and acknowledge if you don't feel like that. Everybody can see through those things. So be authentic when you are saying that, but do say it. And it transforms the relationship. It brings in mutual trust and respect. So I hope I answered and I wasn't very biased.
You weren't. You spoke. Yeah, you did touch on the right note over here. So another question over here by Miss Dua. She is asking, what is the best way to believe in yourself? Most importantly, the best way to use your energy correctly. So most of for some of us who do not understand what energy are we talking about, so maybe you could just touch about that and how do we use our energy in the best possible way. Yeah.
Okay. What is energy and how can you believe in yourself? Like, look at, okay, so one exercise, look at you, who you are, acknowledge who you are being. You already know a lot about you. Write it down, record it, just let yourself know that you know how great you are. If you're feeling shy, a little bit reluctant to do this, you can also ask others, what do you appreciate about me? What do you like about me? What do you think about me? And when you ask, what do you think about me? It might bring up positives and negatives, but there is something that there is a truth in it, maybe just 1% in the negative. Embrace it. That's also part of you, and that's great. So look at yourself as a creative, resourceful, and whole individual. This is who you are. I'm telling you, this is who you are. Use it as a start point and go from here, start from these statements, and take it as granted. I'm not doubting that you are creative, resourceful, and whole. So take it as a start and see where it takes you. And energy, um, the energy is not something we pay attention to in everyday life. However, when you are in a mindfulness training, a coach training, or you are just meditating, you are becoming more and more aware of the energy you bring in to a conversation, the energy you bring into a meeting. And it becomes somehow, you can feel it. It's something you cannot touch it, but you can feel it. And it is represented in body language, but also it's like a listening into a deeper level. So just feel it in, just try to feel it. And there are positive energies, but we also very clearly know, and we can very easily identify if somebody is bringing in a draining, pessimistic, very negative energy. And it's not only the two extremes. So just explore what's in between the positive and the negative. What is there? What kind of an energy is there? What is the energy you bring? What is the energy other people bring? This is a great time to explore. So yeah, that's a question.
Okay, great. Thank you. We have another question by Ms. Asha Lata. She's asking, is it true that women make better leaders and coaches due to their emotional quotient?
Of course not. Everybody can be a great coach. Everybody has the potential to become a great leader, and you choose who you want to become. And it's not comparing, it's not men against women, it's empowering each other. So I think we have to get rid of this age-old, century-old concept that this is where men are and this is where women are. It's not serving us anymore. Just go out of this paradigm, leave it behind. We are living on the same planet, and we are all equally worthy, and we are together. Together we make a difference, and not competing, embracing diversity, embracing the uniqueness that we have, embracing that color that the other person brings in. And it's together. It's not against, it's hand in hand.
Great, thank you so much. Basil has a very simple question. He's asking, how do you become a motivational speaker?
Ooh, am I? Well, if I am, then I would love to see you shine. I would like to see you embracing yourself. And I would love to see you growing every day and putting your intention truly into having you as a priority, to see where you want to grow. And that will be my evidence if I'm really a motivational speaker or not.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Beatrix. That was a great session. I hope we've answered most of your questions. In case if your questions aren't answered, maybe we can get in touch, or as Dr. Beatrix said, she will respond to you back. Apart from that, it's been a great session, Dr. Beatrix. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing this wonderful evening with us. It's been a good one, over 1 hour that we've spent with you. We've learned a lot about leadership. I think most importantly, we've learned more about ourselves. Like, how do you deal with in this the scenario, the situation that we are all faced in? Be more human, be more humble, and be more connected to who you are. Because I think the entire solution, as Dr. Beatrix says, is lies within you. So, ladies and gentlemen, and friends, and everyone out there, thank you so much for being a great listener. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you so much for giving us your evening. And if you have any more questions, please ask. We'll find a way to get in touch with you. And also, let me remind you all that we have a feedback form that you will receive after the session. So please be generous and kind enough to take a minute or two of your time and fill that in, because that would mean a lot for Dr. Beatrix as well, because she wants to know how she connected to you. She wants to learn from you as well. So it's like give and take relationship. So thank you so much, and it's been a great evening. And yeah, stay home, stay safe, stay blessed, and yeah, good night, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Beatrix, again.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye. Signing off, guys.